Everyone, I'm Shivani Gupta. In another surprise call, Mahendra Singh Dhoni has quit from ODI and T20 captaincy. Dhoni had taken a surprise call on his test career, remember? Shocking everyone at the dawn of 2015. 2 years later, he's now quit from limited overs captaincy as well in a relatively less pressure situation. He continues to be available for selection for ODIs and T20s, but nevertheless, it is safe to say it's a call that has surprised all. Now, BCCI CEO Rahul Johri issued a statement saying he thanks Dhoni on behalf of every Indian cricket fan and the BCCI for his outstanding contribution as the captain of the Indian team. Under his leadership, he says, Indian team has touched new heights and his achievements will remain etched forever in the annals of Indian cricket. While captaining the ODI side, MS Dhoni led Team India in 199 matches. He was on the verge of another landmark of sorts, but that has never mattered for MS Dhoni. He won 110 of those. He ended his captaincy stint with a win percentage of 55.28, with 2011 World Cup being a highlight of his tenure. In T20, the Ranchi man captained India in 72 matches and ended up winning 42 of those. Joining us with me in the studio is our consulting editor Rajdeep Sardesai, our sports editor Vikrant Gupta from Kolkata, our consulting editor Boria Majumdar. But let me first go across to former India captain Sourav Ganguly joining us over the phone line. Sourav, he did that with his test retirement as well. And now once again, no one really saw this coming. Were you as surprised as all of us?
To be honest, I wasn't surprised actually. I knew it would have come at some stage or the other because I just didn't see he would make it to the 2019 World Cup as captain. It's still a long way, and these things happen in Indian cricket. It's happened in the past, so I'm not surprised at all.
Right. Sourav, stay with us. We'll just fix the audio with you. But Vikrant, let me come to you. You know, we are hearing that absolutely no one had any inkling of this decision yet again, quite like the way nobody really saw his test retirement coming.
I think that was a separate issue, but Shivani, to be very honest, it's a very logical conclusion. You look at the 2019 World Cup, did the selectors want Dhoni as the captain?
But the Champions Trophy?
See, if let's say hypothetically, if India had finished runners-up in the Champions Trophy, that would have been a good result. Would you have still continued and carried on with Dhoni as the 2019 World Cup captain? Virat, I think, was pushing Dhoni, and I'm sure the two must have spoken. It is Dhoni's call. It definitely is Dhoni's call, but I'm sure he would have had spoken to the selectors. He would, the captain would obviously have a word with the selectors. He could sense that it was coming. Dhoni cannot be on trial all his life. I mean, 3 games against England, and then the Champions Trophy, and then for the selectors to take a call. Virat has been doing well as a test captain. He's been doing well as a captain, as a batsman as well. So it was logical, as I said. You know, I'd been expecting this. Obviously, it's good that somebody like Dhoni, who's contributed so much to Indian cricket, he is going out on his own terms.
Right.
And as Sourav did say on Aaj Tak, he's got the potential to play the 2019 World Cup purely as a player if he can.
I'll come to that with Sourav as well. Sourav, you're saying these things happen in Indian cricket, but Dhoni actually has set a new benchmark of sorts. You know, the way he quit captaincy, the way he's now quit ODI captaincy, and from tests earlier, everyone feels he could have gone longer. He's not quite pushed the anvil as perhaps some greats have done in the past. Would I be fair in saying that?
No, I think there are greats who have done it in the past also. There is no doubt about it, but I think he made the right decision. And I believe, as I said before, that he will continue as a player. He'll be a better player, to be honest, with the freedom and time for himself. Because captaincy just takes every time away from him. So I think it will be benefit to the side, and I think it's a decision looking at the longer picture, where in the 2019 World Cup, Virat needs time to settle down. And that's the way it is. And I was thinking you asked about the Champions Trophy, but you know, when MS became captain in the T20 World Cup, it was his first series as captain, and he went on to win it. So it doesn't matter. I really don't feel it matters. Virat's been captaining for a while. He's ready, and I think this is a decision taken looking at the longer picture.
Sourav, as a captain, does there come a time when you feel this team is no longer my team? Is Dhoni feeling this is Virat's team now?
No, I don't think so, because, you know, cricket is a very mature breed. You know, when they get into the dressing room, they know their They know their responsibilities because they know at the end of the day they also want to play for a long period of time. So they keep supporting the captains they play under, and that's the way it should be, because there are mature players and responsible players. So I don't think that's the case. I don't think the one-day team ever made Dhoni feel that it's time for Virat. As I said, it's just a decision looking at the longer picture of who needs to captain India in the 2019 World Cup.
And is it that Virat's successes in Test cricket have piled on the pressure on MS Dhoni? Had Virat not been as successful in wides and as a batsman as well, maybe Dhoni would have thought twice?
Yeah, absolutely. But that's definitely a part of it, because he knows at the back of his mind that this man is a champion player, and he's ready to do the job. His captaincy skills have been superb in whatever format he has captained. So he knows that it's not a void. It won't be a void, and he will take it forward. So as players you understand, and as players you go through it. And Arun will continue to play and play his cricket for the next 3 years. When he retired from Test cricket, I still felt that he could have continued as a Test match batsman keeper. But then he felt differently. But one-day cricket obviously is more close to his heart, and he'll continue as a batsman.
Saurav, you say he can continue till 2019 World Cup. It's going to be a tall ask, isn't it? Both fitness-wise and the competition in the team as well.
No, I think he's fit. Yes, competition will always be there. From day one you play for India till your last game, there's going to be competition, because only 11 can play out of so many who play the sport, especially in this country where there's so many gifted players. And I don't think that's a worry for anyone, anybody who's played for such a long time, because he's gone through that all throughout his career. So I don't think that's a problem for Dhoni. He's fit. He's fit enough. He'll obviously get a bit more fitter now, because he'll get a lot of time for himself. He doesn't play Test match cricket. So I don't think fitness will be an issue. And I think it's the right decision he's made. And I think it's a decision he's made looking at Indian cricket's future.
Saurav, just hang on with us for a bit before we come to Virat Kohli, who's likely to take over. Let me just get quick reactions from everybody else as well. Rajdeep, were you surprised by this call?
Not at all. I think Mahendra Singh Dhoni has made it a habit to surprise everyone else but himself. I think the kind of person that he is, he likes to take decisions on his own terms. Whether it's getting married, you remember, the entire marriage of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, he didn't create a tamasha. He went and did his own thing. And he did it when he was captain of the Indian team. He could have easily carried on that Australia tour, but he chose that this was his moment, went out. And I think he's realized that this is his moment to step down. A new team should be framed under Virat Kohli for the 2019 World Cup. Every captain deserves at least 2 to 3 years of captaincy before a World Cup.
But let me contradict that by what Saurav just said. Saurav said when Dhoni became captain, he was out of the blue and he won the tournament. So is it only about giving Virat that much time?
No, I think it is. I think it should be at least. Every captain, you can't have someone becoming captain 1 year before a World Cup. Yes, Dhoni won the 2007 World Cup T20, but that, let's be, was an aberration. In most circumstances, a captain needs 2 to 3 years at least with a team, particularly in one-day cricket, where, you need to have the right mix and the right leader. Let's be fair to this man. In my view, I don't know whether Saurav agrees with this or Boria would agree or Vikrant would agree. He is the greatest ever Indian one-day cricketer.
I just started off by saying that.
Greater than the great Kapil
And
Dev.
Saurav has been on record, I believe, Saurav, if I remember correctly, you did say that, his record speaks for himself, but would you say he was the greatest?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Given that, then his place is assured in the team. He can clearly play the 2019 World Cup. I don't see any wicketkeeper batsman or a finisher close to him. So then, as captain, and you can't, and this, I don't know whether you agree with this is my final point here, is that you can't then stop playing Test cricket and then believe I have the right to be one-day cricketer and T20
Absolutely.
captain. You have to continuously play international cricket as captain. As a player as great as Dhoni can adjust. But as captain, I think you need to be with the team for the entire year, and it's good to have the same captain in all formats.
And a very valid point that Shivani also made. At times, if the dressing room is Virat's for 9 months in a year, it becomes difficult for those 3 months for Dhoni and for the players as well. It becomes very difficult for them to switch.
Yeah, it just does seem that a lot of these men in the Indian team are Virat loyalists. Not that they don't like Dhoni or they are anti-Dhoni. It's just that you know, they're feeling
Surely
a
at
different
times
energy under Virat.
when it is the captaincy, you have to look at the future. You need to have a vision. I mean, Dhoni can continue. He could have continued. Whether it is Dhoni's call or it is the selector's call or it was a call made by both of them together. But then you have to look at the 2019 World Cup.
Okay.
And
Let me...
Virat has been successful. You can't deny him.
No,
that.
absolutely. No doubts about his capabilities at all. But Boria, tell us more about what you're hearing about what happened behind the scenes. We're hearing that the selectors did actually speak to him a little bit about what his plans are. But even they didn't see this coming.
Yeah, two of them did. I've spoken to two and both of them tell me that they have spoken to Dhoni, but just asking him, what do you think? What do you think about your own future? None of them asked him to step down. The BCCI CEO, general managers who I have spoken to, none of them asked him to step down. It was his call on his own terms. There is no doubt this was his decision, maybe for the future of Indian cricket, maybe for himself, maybe he realized this was coming. I agree this was coming, but whether it was coming at this point in time, look, if somebody tells me that Dhoni was thinking Virat will be captain in 2019, so let me resign now, I'm sorry, I agree. I think Dhoni...
Even I don't feel that is the case here. Yeah, go ahead.
There is this argument going on. Please don't interrupt. The fact of the matter is very simple. There was enormous pressure building up in the media. There was enormous pressure building up as a result of Virat's performances. So as a sensible man who wants to prolong his own career, captaincy would not have allowed that. And you asked Saurav about his fitness. Over the last year, if you followed Dhoni over the last few months, he's a fitter cricketer now. Do you know he was training with the Jharkhand team? He actually is much fitter. He's told two of the selectors, I will ensure I'm fitter than most of the players. You cannot boot me out. That's Dhoni. He will rewrite history books. I agree with Saurav, he's the greatest. I agree with Rajdeep, he's the greatest. Wait till Virat retires. Maybe that decision will be changed. But for the moment, I was surprised to an extent that he took the call now. Then why not 1 month back? But that is Dhoni.
Yeah, why so close to the selection? Because the selection, Vikrant, is just 2 days from now. Why so close?
Coincidence?
Is it really?
Or is it related?
He knew the schedule of the England series, the ODI series.
You've got to make the dots join each other. I mean, one things lead to another. He's been a great captain. He could have continued for some more time. But again, as Rajdeep said, you cannot have Dhoni on trial on a consistent basis. One series, then the Champions Trophy, and then we'll take a call.
But not so long ago, everybody said that Dhoni is here to stay.
No,
Even
Dhoni is still...
the exiting selection chairman said he's here to stay. At least
Dhoni is here to stay as a player.
Yeah.
As a captain, I think, there's also a shelf life.
Yeah.
There's a shelf life.
Was his acumen diminishing as a captain?
No, because once I come back to it, once you've gone out of Test cricket, then you've lost, for example, you've seen Dhoni's not been playing any cricket for the last few months. Then you suddenly come back with a one-day team.
But that's a problem as a player. But why is that a problem as a captain, Rajdeep?
I think it's even a bigger problem as a captain than as a player. As a player, if Dhoni's
India has always had a tradition of picking a player first and then looking at the captain, unlike England, who would pick the captain and then
and
see
countries
if he
around the world
plays
do have different captains across formats successfully.
To my mind, countries have captains across different formats because they have no choice. You choose a Morgan, for example, in England because Cook can't play one-day cricket.
And Morgan maybe cannot be successful in Test cricket.
What is happening with South
What
Africa?
about South Africa?
But look at what is happening with South Africa. They tried different captains. You are eventually ending up in a situation where possibly Duplessis will now captain them in all formats. Possibly. I mean, we don't know whether De Villiers will give that up as well. But that is a possibility. To my mind, just like if you're a great player across all formats...
But if De Villiers gives up, he's not going to play Test.
No, Shivani, also, Anil Kumble as a Test captain and Dhoni as one-day captain works for you. You've got a younger man who is who's kind of an apprentice and he's the one-day captain. It cannot be the other way around. You cannot have a younger player leading you in the Test cricket and then you've got an older guy, an experienced guy leading you.
What has Virat Kohli done wrong in the last 12 months not to be made the one-day captain?
You cannot deny him.
And I think Mahendra Singh Dhoni, unlike, and I'm sorry to
But you could flip that question, say, what did Dhoni do wrong? Let's come to that then. Where did you think that Dhoni
India hasn't been very consistent.
Then move aside?
India hasn't been very consistent.
We lost the T20 World Cup.
Series losses to Australia,
Series losses have taken place. And I think we are at the moment, a better Test team than we are a one-day team. And you will need...
But they've only played at home under Virat Kohli.
We will need a year or two. You're building into the 2019 World Cup. What is your objective? Not Champions Trophy. People don't remember who won the Champions Trophy 10 years ago. Do you remember who won the Champions Trophy in 2004? You'll remember who's won the World Cup. The World Cup is the agenda. Make Virat Kohli the captain across formats. He's able to handle the pressure and have Dhoni there. What can be better in the dressing room for a Virat Kohli than Mahendra Singh Dhoni there to advise him?
Exactly, and a fit and a rearing Mahendra Singh Dhoni who probably can reinvent his own batting.
All right.
I mean, what
His
do you
batting
need more?
has been
Do you need
a
Dhoni
concern.
as a captain, or do you need Dhoni, the old Mahi, as the finisher?
No,
I mean, if he
absolutely.
can
We
reinvent
need
his
his
batting,
batsmanship definitely, which has been under question recently. The runs haven't flown from his bat as much. Rasesh, surely the selection meet now on January 6th becomes a very interesting one, isn't it?
Well, Dhoni has certainly simplified, the whole decision-making process for the selectors, hasn't he? I mean, it's not for MSK Prasad and team to decide. Not that they were going to decide or that Dhoni should step aside or anything on those lines. But it was a decision they had to make. It was a decision that was being debated for a while. Dhoni's now taken that away from him. And one only hopes that, perhaps in Dhoni retiring from the one-day captaincy has provided Virat with an opportunity as a new possible match winner, reinvented MS Dhoni. It hasn't come as suddenly as this test retirement did. I was speaking to, people close to Dhoni, and then Dhoni confides to very few people, and they say that he wants to play the 2019 World Cup. I was speaking to very senior DCCA administrators when the 2015 World Cup finished, and Dhoni had told that particular administrator that he wants to play the 2019 World Cup as well. I would think he would probably have seen himself as a captain in the 2019 World Cup, but I think in the manner in which Virat has been able to lead the test team successfully, Dhoni may have, I think, in the past few months realized that perhaps it would be a good opportunity for Virat to give him a longer reign in lead up to the 2019 World Cup.
Right.
Virat has been a very successful skipper, and perhaps he'll find the right position for him, and like I said, a possible match winner for him in that sense.
In fact, Dhoni was on record in front of the media as well after the 2015 World Cup that he does want to play the 2019 World Cup. So he had put those speculations to rest. But Boria, how do you see the dynamics of Virat as captain and Dhoni as only a player in the ODI and T20 side now?
Oh, I don't see as a problem at all. I mean, Virat Kohli, by what he has achieved, earns Indian captaincy by every right. And I don't think Mahendra Singh Dhoni is that kind of an influence who will have any adverse impact in the dressing room. I don't see that. What I do see is we will not have to clamour for Mahendra Singh Dhoni to bat at 4. Virat Kohli will ensure that Mahendra Singh Dhoni bats at 4. He will ensure he will get the best out of Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Maybe he cannot tonk the ball from ball 1, but he can build an innings and finish the match like Saurav has always been saying on India Today. So I do think good things for Indian cricket. 2019, 3 more years. Can Mahendra Singh Dhoni last out 3 more years back? Look, that's too long a call. I mean, yes, he believes 2019. Will Rishabh Pant mature? Who knows? Maybe he can. Will it be unfair on him? That's too long. Let's not think 3 years in sport, injuries, what happens. But the fact is, it's a great decision. I welcome the decision for 2 reasons. It's in the interest of Indian cricket. It's in the interest of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, the player. Both are important to India.
And there is something about MS Dhoni, doesn't want a farewell series for anything, isn't it? He announces it all of a sudden. He could have had this England series as a farewell as a captain, but he doesn't believe in that. Dhoni is different in that, isn't it, Rajdeep?
I come back to the marriage. Look at the way Mahendra Singh Dhoni has carried himself through his career. He hasn't allowed anyone else or society to set the terms for what he should and should not do.
He's very different in that respect.
He doesn't give interviews. In fact, if you put pressure, I believe, on him through a politician, I know one journalist who actually put pressure on Dhoni through a politician for an interview, Dhoni rejected him. And that person was a powerful journalist. Dhoni likes to be his own man.
Right.
And I think full credit to
that
him.
was his
because
strength.
that's what I like in Indian cricket. Too many Indian cricketers, including some of the greats of Indian cricket, have never really agreed to retire. They've had to be pushed out.
That's what I said. Ask Saurav, we didn't agree to it. Maybe he was being diplomatic there. But I remember this incident in Perth, I believe, where the Indian team was playing during the 2015 World Cup. And it was actually Vikrant, Dhoni and Virat who were out shopping together. They're actually pretty good with each other.
I get a sense, and I cannot obviously put it on here, but I get a sense that Dhoni did speak with Virat. Maybe today, maybe 3 days back, maybe a week back, but Dhoni had given Virat an inkling of the things to come.
All right. Well, that's a good note to end on. Of course, we'll continue to maintain our focus on MS Dhoni. Keep watching this space. We will, of course, be talking about his legacy and much, much more. Perhaps his best moments as captain as well. 3 obviously we showed at the very start, but there are many more. Rajdeep, Boria, Rasesh and Vikrant and Saurav Ganguly. Thanks a lot for joining us.